In Section 2 of Module 5, we'll take a look at these statements, 1 through 6, and we want to determine if they are true or false and be able to defend your answer. So I think we'll assign this to everyone or whatever. So once again, we say the quadratic formula can be used to solve any quadratic equation. But what are the other methods? Well, the first method we have was factoring. The second method we had was the principle of the square root, taking the square root of both sides. And as part of that, we included completing the square. And then our general overall way of solving any quadratic equation is the quadratic formula. Number 2, the steps used to derive the quadratic formula are the same as those used when solving completing the square. That was what we showed you as part of our lesson, right from our textbook, where they bring the C term over and go through the steps of completing the square. That gives you the generalized quadratic equation. The quadratic formula does not work if solutions are imaginary numbers. It does work, so therefore this is false. Solving by factoring is always slower. No, if something factors and you see it, that's the quicker method. But generally, I think the quadratic formula takes a little more time because you need to convert into standard form, find your A, B, and C, put it into the formula, and be careful you don't make any errors with the signs as you simplify. A quadratic equation can have as many as 4 solutions. Remember, the definition of quadratic, it is a value x to the second power. So 2 solutions. And if the solutions are the same, then it's just 1. Number 6, it is possible for the quadratic solution to have no real number solutions. Yes, these would contain the I. Alright, now what we're going to do is, if we have time, we're going to go on and give you just one classwork example to work on. Let's do number 7, 9 as just a classwork example, 7 and 9. And I'll pause. Now, 7 could actually be factored, and there's the factorization, and these are your answers. Now, if you use the quadratic equation, you would have gotten the same answers. But for number 9, that is not factorable. So we need to identify our A term, our B term, and our C term. And now we'll put it into the quadratic formula. In this case, it's U, but we can use X. Now it's negative B, so negative 2 plus or minus the square root of B squared, which is 4, minus A, which is 1, times C so negative 4AC, which we then start to simplify, is negative 2 plus or minus the square root of. Now this is a negative times the negative makes this a positive. 16 plus 4 is 20 all over 2. Now, when we simplify 20, you may recall, the square root of 20 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. Square root of 5, I should say. Yes. So this comes out of here as a negative 2, I'll put that over 2, plus or minus 2, the square root of 5. And that's over 2 also. So here these cancel out, and we're left as answers that a negative 1 from this, plus or minus the square root of 5. Okay, you'll have plenty of answers or practice items and things to do. This is a quick reminder, a little bit of a classroom exercise to practice some of the things we had in our lesson. All right, let's wrap it up.